Roguelikes are everywhere these days. I mean, I'm covering 2 of them in as many months. They are without a doubt one of my favorite genres of games these days, and I don't mean, oh, I played a few of them back in the day and I reflect fondly on them now, or, oh, they're super deep and thought-provoking and kind of a little bit changed my life. Well, sometimes they do that too. But I mean, I find them addictive and driving and really fun to play. You know, the good old-fashioned kind of favorite genres of games. That was a mouthful. So I was more than excited to get my mitts on Minor Key Games' Eldritch, which released version 1.0 in December 2013. It's got everything I like. Simple gameplay premise, Lovecraftian theming, roguelike under the genre heading. This one's gonna be a winner! The beginning of the game is filled with all the usual kinds of delicious mystery and succulent danger of a roguelike as you slowly creep deeper and deeper into the first levels of the game. While avoiding monsters and scrounging for ammo and healing items, we pretty quickly begin to learn about the subtleties of the game. Catching a monster by surprise is a one-hit kill, but if they notice you, get ready for a full-on fight. Looting corpses of fallen monsters gives you useful items or money, sure, but doing so allows them to respawn elsewhere in the level. Do you take what you can get and fight what comes, or do you let the bodies rot and enjoy relative quiet? Like the beginning of any roguelike, the game is tense. Risk versus reward is the name of the game, and this game utilizes the name perfectly. Unpreparedness is a given and survival is a gamble every time you set out on a new run. New enemies are just a rich tapestry of big, scary unknowns, and you're basically just sneaking around every corner as a roundabout way of begging the game for your life. New items and spells are but a paltry concession, though every little thing is useful in the face of encroaching darkness wreathed in panicky goodness. So yes, the game is a winner. For like 5 hours. Yeah, there's a point of diminishing returns with Eldritch, which makes me sad, because the game is fun, it just doesn't stay fun. Or rather, that is to say, it stays exactly the same kind of fun, it just doesn't change enough from round to round. The levels are procedurally generated, sure, but they more or less are just a series of rooms, and if we're gonna go off base game experience here, it seems like it's the same set of rooms that just get shuffled around each time without much bedrock change. This is compounded by the fact that, as a roguelike, the game doesn't offer a ton of variability when it comes to upgrades or stat changes. Maybe we've all been spoiled by The Binding of Isaac or Rogue Legacy, but I mean, the sheer scope of round variability in those games is just staggering, especially in The Binding of Isaac. Every round is different, how it plays, how it's arranged. Sometimes you'll find yourself playing with completely different controls or mechanics. Put simply, it's almost breathtaking. But in Eldritch, there are a series of boots you can buy, some charms that affect your stats, and like, what, 7 spells you can use? What I'm saying is you'll get used to it pretty quickly. There isn't any overlap between items, and you will in no time at all have a standard item build that you're building towards every time. Before long, you'll just be stone cold running through the levels, knifing jerks till you get what you need to make a run for the end of the game. What was once scary becomes frustrating, and what was once engrossing becomes tedious. In order to finish the game, you have to finish all 3 of the dungeon books, or the Mountains of Madness level, the former of which I have accomplished, the latter not so much. The lack of variability, combined with the length of the levels, turns this game into a bit of a grind that kind of loses its charm. But that should not imply that I didn't keep playing the game. Pretty soon I was stone cold running through the levels just knifing jerks, you get the picture. At least until I was killed by a stone lizard. Seriously, those guys are the worst! Was it curiosity? Was it for the sake of the video? I don't actually know, but I am still playing the game periodically. The internet tells me that there's a new game plus at the end featuring harder enemies and fewer pickups, which just sounds enchanting. Seriously, if there's something to this game that I'm missing, let me know in the comments, because I really like this game, but I would love it if it was just pushed a little bit further into its own genre. I have managed to achieve one of the endings thus far, and yeah, the run up to it felt samey and stale, exactly the opposite of what a roguelike should feel like. These are pretty damning things to say about a game, I'm aware of this, and as much as I think the game suffers in a lot of ways, I just have to give this game whatever my channel's equivalent of a passing grade is. Lovecraft done right has me running to it every time. I read Lovecraft, Arkham Horror is my favorite board game of all time, I write Lovecraftian imagery into my band's songs. With that said, I get this game. I feel this game, which is a really dumb and vague way of putting it, but suffice it to say that the atmosphere and the music of this game are perfect, though the sound design does leave a lot to be desired. Yeah, it's lo-fi voxel graphics and whatever else have you, but I never felt ripped out of the moment by anything I saw in this game, which is a huge win. I'm gonna put this game right next to Sunless Sea in that regard. In short, Eldritch is a good dungeon crawler with lingering problems that I wouldn't call deal breakers, but they're hard to get around. The game accomplishes its goal in the end, but stumbles along the way, taking the player with it. The game only keeps its novel appeal for about 5 hours, but they are 5 hours well spent. And there's plenty more for challenge seekers to chew on as the broader adventure unfolds.